Hey folks, Lionel here from Creative Wedding Films, and if you're wondering how to plan your wedding day timeline or flow for the day, well, this video is for you. I'm going to walk you through the ultimate wedding day schedule from getting ready at the beginning of the day all the way through to the dancing part at the end of the day. So let's dive in. First off, groom prep. We usually arrive when the guys are already halfway dressed. So that means the groom should be in shirts and slacks and the groomsmen should be fully dressed. That way we're not waiting around for the groomsmen to get dressed, and it's better use of time. And for the camera, we don't need that part. Have a little detail station ready. So that's where you have your shoes, your cologne, cufflinks, wedding invitations, rings, anything meaningful to you both. Hang the jacket up neatly and we take the shot of that as well. So that's when the belt and shoes come on, followed by the groomsmen helping the groom with his tie and jacket. So we'll wrap it up with a celebratory drink with all the groomsmen and anyone else who's around, after which we'll do some combination shots with the various groomsmen and groom and family, and we usually allow about 45 minutes to an hour doing groom prep. And then we drive off to the bride's house. So make sure when you're planning your timeline to account for travel between the various locations for the day. So we arrive at the bride's house next, wherever she's getting ready. We recommend that the hair and makeup should be done or close to finished before we arrive. This way we're not waiting around for anything, so we can just punch through all the shots that we need to get through. If we're waiting for hair and makeup to get done, it usually puts us behind time. So key is to try and get all the hair and makeup done first, and then we can stage some lip gloss shots if we need to when we arrive. So same deal at the brides. First we need to capture all the accessories and details. So have a little station ready with the shoes, perfume, flowers, the engagement ring, and the dress. Hang it up somewhere where there's good natural light, and you want to make it so that there's not a lot of things around to distract the shot, so that the dress is the main feature. So when you're picking your location to get ready, try and find a location that has good natural light, or at least a room that has good natural light, and make it nice and tidy for the photographer and videographer, because the less clutter, the better the shots. So once we've got the dress hung up and we've got a shot with the bride in the dress, which is usually just the shot of the bride looking at the dress and feeling the fabric, which is always a nice graceful shot, we move to champagne with the girls in their robes or normal clothes, depending on what's been organized. So that can be a champagne spray shot or just a cheers shot, depending on the space, after which all the girls go off and get changed. Once the bride's covered, we usually just get that final shot of the zip getting done up, either by the mother or one of the bridesmaids. And then after which we do a big reveal to whoever's around. That can be either to the bridesmaids, the family, or sometimes it can be the father or mother, which is always a key shot to get the reactions of everyone. It was very emotional, especially on video. And then we do some combination shots with whoever's around, any family there, combination shots with the bridesmaids, and by combination I mean bridesmaids 1 with bride, bridesmaid 2 with bride, etc, etc. So that wraps up the bride's prep. We usually allow about an hour and 15 to an hour 30 with the bride. I think that's optimal time based on our experience. And so then we head off to the ceremony. Now it's really important when planning your timeline to allow for the videographer to get to the ceremony at least 45 minutes to an hour before the ceremony is scheduled to begin. It's not so much important for the photographer. The photographer can arrive kind of any time before the ceremony begins. But for the videographer, it's super important that they get there a lot earlier, because they need to set up sound recording and tripods and liaise with the celebrant to capture the sound out of the celebrant's PA, and also to put a lav mic or a lapel mic on the groom, which captures secondary audio from the ceremony as well as the vows from the bride and groom. And when it's a church, it's super important that we get there at least an hour before, because you never know what you're walking into in a church. A lot of their systems are quite ancient or very complicated systems. Sometimes they don't like videographers touching their systems, so you got to find other ways of recording the ceremony. So just something to keep in mind when planning your wedding day. And if you're planning to do a first look with each other before the ceremony is the optimal time to do it, but do it before the videographer sets up. So maybe an hour to an hour 15 before. We need about 15 minutes for that first look. Then we'll go to the ceremony. So the bride arrives, the ceremony begins, then boom, you're married. Then straight after that, we'll do a big group shot whilst the energy is still high. We like to do it straight after the ceremony because otherwise people shift off into different directions and it's hard to get everyone back in one spot again. Then we roll into a quick photo session with the family. So we usually allow about 15 minutes for family photos after the ceremony. When you're preparing this timeline, also put together a family photo list with all the combinations of everyone that you want captured, and give that list to the photographer, and also find someone who knows everyone in the families and is good at wrangling people together. And that way we use the time really efficiently and can just power through these photos. Then we go off and do our bridal party shots and our couple portraits. Now, depending on how you want your day to go and how many locations you choose to do these photos, we usually like to allow 20 to 25 minutes all up with the bridal party and about 30 minutes with the couple. Now we can rotate between the two at multiple locations. If it's all in the one location, it's just easier to do the bridal party photos first and then the portrait shots of just the couple after that. Within that portrait time, that's when we do the drone shots. I like to get the couple to practice their first dance in that time and capture them doing that with the drone, which always looks really nice. After that, there's usually canopies that are happening either at the same time or after, and then the reception. And that's where we need to give the videographer and photographer some time to capture shots of inside the reception area, and also some time to set up tripods and all the sound recording equipment with the DJ or band or both. We also liaise with the MC at that point too and coordinate with them as to how the rest of the night is going to unfold. So straight after the photo session, the photographer and videographer will go off and do this, and we usually need about 15 to 20 minutes to get this set up. Ideally, we like to do this before guests arrive, but obviously a lot of the time that's not possible. And then it's showtime. Traditionally, this is where the bridal party entrance happens. Some couples choose not to do a bridal party entrance, which is completely fine, but a bridal party entrance is a good way to set up the reception and start out the night with high energy. And I like to go straight into a cake cut and a champagne tower if that's on the table. The reason why I like doing it earlier on in the night rather than later, because the energy is high when the bridal party come in, and it allows for more formalities later on, so you're not putting too many formalities all together at once. And then this is a good way to segue into entrees, usually half an hour to 40 minutes for entree. Then into the first set of speeches. It's good to break the speeches up into 2 sets of speeches if there are more than 4 speakers. If you have more than that at once, sometimes it can be a bit lengthy and people can get a bit restless. And then move into main meals, which is usually about 45 minutes that most reception places allow for their main meals. And then we do the second set of speeches. Now at some point there's usually a golden hour where we do sunset shots. Now every day is going to be different weather and a different time. Now if you type into Google what time is sunset on your date and location, Google will usually show what time that last sun is. So we usually then work backwards about 25 minutes from what Google says, and that's where we kind of anticipate to go out for those shots, which we only need about 10 to 15 minutes for. So we'll read the sun on the night and grab the couple when it's looking good for those shots. So once we've done these sunset shots, this is when we move to the first dance and schedule in that time. So with the first dance, it's usually the couple that get on the dance floor first, and then there might be a dance with the parents that follow on after that. And this is usually a good moment for the MC to invite all the guests onto the dance floor. It helps the DJ out greatly when the transition happens from first dance into dance floor. So once we have about 20 to 30 minutes of dance floor footage, it's usually enough before all the footage starts to look all the same and repetitive. And that's usually when we decide to leave. Now some couples want a sparkler exit. We like to encourage them to make it a sparkler shot so we don't have to stick around to the very end of the night capturing all the repetitive footage in the meantime. So what we do is we grab 10 to 20 guests, take them outside and stage that sparkler shot, and that way we can wrap up the footage that we need. So based on the events and timeline that we've put together in this video, you should be able to get all of this captured within sort of an 8 to 9 hour time frame, depending on that last shot. But there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to cover everything mentioned in this video within that time frame. So hopefully you've gotten some good value out of this video. And if you want to discuss your timeline or anything wedding related with us, or would like us to capture your wedding, feel free to reach us over at creativeweddingfilms.com.au. Thank you all for watching.